As far as I'm concerned, the federal government's the biggest drug dealer in the entire country. It's unacceptable. It needs to stop.
And I'm not taking down that tweet or acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules. Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
What we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets.
So there's this guy that was talking about these issues of parents' rights in Canada, and he specifically said that parents don't have rights.
I'd like to say, first of all, there's no such thing as parental rights in Canada. There are parental responsibilities. And in Canadian family law, the primary responsibility of parents is to support and affirm their kids.
What the...
I lived in Canada for the past 34 years. I am a Canadian, a naturalized Canadian. The first time I came to this country, I fell in love. The cleanliness, the hospitality, and the beautiful landscape. But over the years, Canada has changed. Canada was always seen as the Switzerland of North America.
Hey, want to see something? What do you think's under here? You ready?
Oh, man.
How about that?
Oh, man. Oh. How many grandchildren have I got?
2 million.
Oh, man. I'm overwhelmed. But I don't understand why, because I'm just me. There are not enough words to say thank you other than from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, and God bless all of you. And
decisive comments yet, while visiting a park near a supervised injection site that he wants Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to shut down.
I will be closing them. We will close safe injection sites next to schools, playgrounds, anywhere else that they endanger the public and take lives. They are unsafe injection sites. They are drug dens.
As far as I'm concerned, the federal government's the biggest drug dealer in the entire country. It's unacceptable. It needs to stop. We need to get rid of safe supply. We need to put money into treatment.
Widespread drug use in public places.
He's coming around again.
The growth of homeless encampments. Fears of the potential for crime. It's all got many Canadians looking for solutions to the drug crisis. Some are wondering, is forcing people into treatment the way to go?
I think if something like involuntary care had been in place 6 years ago, my daughter wouldn't be where she is right now. She wouldn't be emaciated. She wouldn't have been assaulted. She wouldn't have burns on her body. There are only two outcomes for my daughter that I can see: recovery or death. And since she can't choose recovery, I think it's our responsibility to do that for her.
The Prime Minister is not worth the crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder he's unleashed in our streets. He has signed on with the NDP government in BC to decriminalize crack and other hard drugs, and allowed for drug injection sites in Richmond. Courageous and patriotic Canadians of Chinese origin rose up to speak out and protect their kids, and were treated to racial slurs by NDP radical activists telling them to go back where they came from. Will the Prime Minister reject this liberal racism and ban hard drugs so we can stop the crime?
We're making a longer-term, multi-year commitment that provides predictable, steady support to Ukraine. It will include $650 million over 3 years for 50 armored vehicles, including medical evacuation vehicles that will be built by Canadian workers in London, Ontario.
An organization dedicated to ending hunger and poverty says food bank visits in this province have reached an all-time high. Feed Ontario reports food bank use has increased for 8 consecutive years. It says more than 1 million people accessed food banks last year alone, and there were over 7.6 million visits. That's double the number from 4 years ago. Feed Ontario blames the rapid increase on the cost of living, the erosion of social support programs, and a failure to invest in affordable housing.
Over the years, I've seen Canada shifted away from that neutral stance, where Canada is now sending money to inflame conflicts in other nations instead of being the peacemaker. And I'm wondering what happened to Canada. How did Canada shift from such a peaceful nation to now a nation that instead of trying to find peace, it's now instigating conflict?
We're announcing today $500 million more in military aid this year for Ukraine to help through this very difficult situation. We're also stepping up over the coming year on the training of fighter jet pilots to be able to take on Russia in the skies over Ukraine. We're going to continue to be there step by step.
I think Zelensky's the greatest salesman in history. Every time he comes into the country, he walks away with $60 billion. Billion! Walks in with $60 billion. He wants them to win this election so badly, but I would do differently. I will work out peace before. As president-elect, if I win this election, the first thing I'm going to do is call up Zelensky and call up President Putin, and I'm going to say, you got to make a deal. This is crazy.
I think that what Trudeau is doing is testing his fingers in the wind constantly to see where the easiest moral advantage can be obtained and then driving down that direction as fast as he possibly can. I don't believe for a second that he has any such thing as principles. It doesn't look, because I don't think anybody who lies with every single word and gesture ever has principles. And I know, for example, this was definitely true during the pandemic. This was true not only of the Liberals, Trudeau's party, but also of the Conservatives and the Socialists, is that during the pandemic, all our politicians did nothing but sample opinion poll constantly, and then derive policy as a consequence of sampling the very people that they frightened with their propagandistic idiocy, and then produce policy, and then pretend as an outright, complete bloody lie that it was the science leading it. And that's how Trudeau governs in relationship to everything. He looks for the easiest moral advantage. We're saving the planet. It's like, yeah, I don't think so, buddy.
The tyranny we have witnessed in Canada in recent weeks should shock and dismay people all over the world. In an advanced Western democracy, the peaceful movement of patriotic truckers, workers, and families protesting for their most basic rights and liberties has been violently put down. Their assets and life savings have been frozen. They have been slandered as Nazis, racists, and terrorists. These are the names they've been called. They've been arrested and charged with phony crimes. They've been falsely accused of loyalty to foreign powers. I watched them. I saw those maple leafs all over the flags and the love for their country. Plenty of Americans were there too, and they love our country. They're being hunted down like enemies of their own government and treated worse than drug dealers and murderers or rapists. A line has been crossed. You're either with the peaceful truckers or you are with the left-wing fascists, and that's what's been happening, and it's been a strong line. We stand with the truckers, and we stand with the Canadian people in their noble quest to reclaim their freedom.
Canadians, what happened to us? Canadians have become comfortable. Canadians have become complacent. Canadians have actually become so complacent that wokeism and cancel culture has now taken over their schools and their institutions. Where now Canadians are very fearful of speaking out.
So there's this guy that was talking about these issues of parents' rights in Canada, and he specifically said that parents don't have rights.
I'd like to say, first of all, there's no such thing as parental rights in Canada. There are parental responsibilities. And in Canadian family law, the primary responsibility of parents is to support and affirm their kids.
What the
And I'm not taking down that tweet or acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules. Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the... No. Breaking news, Elon Musk just told Justin Trudeau on X he is next. Take a look at that. Canadians can't wait a year. Thank you, Mr. Musk, but Canadians need it now.
I called the Prime Minister and I said, look, I'm not running again. I didn't even have to give him a reason. I said, I'm not running again. It's 4 years. I'm not getting a pension. I'm not getting anything. I just don't want to do this. He said, well, that was the same day that Jody Wilson-Raybould had stepped down. He couldn't have two women of color leave at the same day.
That's what he told you. Really?
Like, dude, that's not my problem.
Yes. That was his first response to your...
Yes.
Okay, so that...
I strongly believe that he is incapable of being president of the United States, that he has been incompetent and...
I've stood up to Trump, and I have stood up to Putin. Juvenile playground insults from the wannabe MAGA maple syrup conservatives do not frighten me at all. But what I think is really interesting is that they don't actually want to talk about the economy. And that's because good economic news for Canadians is bad news for them.
What happened, Canadians, where wokeism and counterculture has now become the vanguard of our daily life?
9 million Canadians live in food insecurity. It's 23% of our population. Twice as high as the rate in the United States. Food prices have risen 36% faster in Canada than in the States, and that gap has happened at the same time as the implementation of the carbon tax and all the government greed.
That guy makes so much more sense. Yeah. So common sense and just calling out all the nonsense that's been done.
Comment on one spectacular social housing project of his, and that is the brand new lavish apartment that he bought his friend, the new Consul General to New York. $9 million for his friend Tom Clark to have stunning powder room, a handcrafted copper soaking tub, custom bronze bathroom fixtures, $5,000 coffee machine. Did the Prime Minister go and inspect this palace in the sky on his recent trip to New York?
Have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are for our actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
He, in my view, is the worst manager Canada has ever had. The worst. The absolute worst. There is no one as bad as he's been. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. He's just a terrible manager. He's completely unqualified to be the CEO of Canada, which is what the Prime Minister is.
He is so desperate to talk about anything else that he avoids talking about what's happening in our own country. So will he answer the question? Will he take his tax off our farmers so our people can afford to eat?
The leader of the opposition full well knows that 97% of fuel emissions in the agricultural sector and the farming sector are already exempt from our price on pollution. But he is so desperate to try and score partisan points that he actually refused to stand in support of something that Volodymyr Zelensky asked us for in this House. How is the leader of the opposition explaining to Ukrainian Canadians right across the country that he no longer stands with Ukraine on things that they need right now to win this war against Russia?
The Prime Minister continues to dodge the question about the tax he plans to quadruple on Canadian farmers. One farm alone in my riding is spending $150,000 a year on carbon taxes. And the Prime Minister wants to quadruple that number up to $600,000. That might put the farm out of business, which would mean we'd have to buy more foreign, expensive food from more polluting countries. And the Prime Minister is blocking a common-sense Conservative bill C-234 in the Senate.
Merry Christmas, Canada. 'Tis the season to gather with friends and family, to share moments and meals with loved ones, and to give thanks for the blessings in our lives.
Me love Jamaica, me nah sell out. Them try clip we wings, somehow we can't fly out.
Prospect Estates is a luxury villa in Jamaica with sweeping ocean views that don't come cheap. The rooms go for as much as $9,000 a night. The Trudeaus spent their Christmas vacation there.
$160,000 of taxpayer expenses for the Prime Minister to go down to the private villa, luxurious villa of a super rich Trudeau Foundation donor.
For 2 months, starting December 14th, we're going to remove the GST, HST from groceries. 100% of groceries, all groceries. We're going to remove the GST from restaurant meals, takeouts, fast food. Removing the GST from beer and wine. Removing the GST for essentials like kids' clothing, footwear, diapers, and toys. All tax-free. We also know that there's more we need to do, particularly for working Canadians. So if you worked in 2023 and earned up to $150,000, we're going to be sending you a check for $250.
Yo ya cogía los tacos los arrastrados. Que allí venía el camionero.
Donald Trump just threatened a 25% tariff.
The tariffs. The word tariff to me is the most beautiful word in the entire dictionary. They're going to tariff the hell out of them. I am a tariff man.
On all goods coming into the United States from Canada and Mexico. That would raise the price on food, medicine, cars, oil, lumber, concrete. And Trump says it would be a day one priority after his inauguration.
Canada gave me hope. This country has made me into a better man, and for that I am forever grateful. Canadians, Justin Trudeau has made this country into a laughing stock. Canadians, it is up to us to make this land a great nation again.